I'll see you guys at the lift. Boy, that was great. Hi, folks, I'm John Denver. And this, well, this, of course, is Colorado. You know, the emotions I feel up here I've expressed many times,
And I am reminded of a sign that used to hang in the police gymnasium where I used to work about 15 years ago, and it was a quote. It was the words of the chief of police of that city, Merrill Duncan, and I was reminded of those words as I was composing these comments today. And remember, this is in the police gymnasium where the officers work lifting weights to try to stay fit and stay in shape. And that quote was this: "There are no second-place ribbons in a street fight." And that's basically what these officers confronted on March 3rd, 1991. These officers, these defendants, do not get paid to lose street fights. They don't get paid to roll around in the dirt with the likes of Rodney King. That is not their job. That is not their duty. And if we as members of the community demand that they do that, then the thin blue line that separates the law-abiding from the not law-abiding will disintegrate. These are not RoboCops, ladies and gentlemen. They hurt. They feel pain. They bleed. And they die, just like everyone else. And we leave it to them to take care of the mean streets so that we can safely enjoy our lives, so that we can raise our families in neighborhoods, so that we can enjoy a Saturday afternoon with our daughters watching a new movie they just brought home about Fievel. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, duty required Officer Powell to act.
There's lots of code words in there.
Wow.
A lot of code words in there.
Imagine now,
Mean
you've just
streets,
had
inner city.
weeks and weeks of trial. You're sitting there. They've stopped the tape. They've showed you frame by frame. You got these very compelling, anguished white defendants sitting there in a jury box in Ventura County, California, and this guy gets up there talking about kids and families and safety. It worked.
Not nearly as eloquent as you, and perhaps not as forceful. However,
did you hear him?
I did not, but
well, then you don't know. He probably did it better than I did.
Well, perhaps he did. But the rejoinder is that we expect police officers, whether in Los Angeles or New York, to abide by the high ideals, at least that are on paper in terms of the law of this land. We expect that police officers will treat all citizens with the same respect and dignity, all, men, women, black and white. We expect that our communities can be patrolled by men and women who have been trained to respond in ways that involve restraint so that they do not abuse their deadly authority. And duty does require that you act responsibly. Duty does require that in some instances you risk your life in order to make sure that you don't take a life unfairly. Duty does require that you represent the American people, all of us. I mean, the rejoinder goes on and on and on. And we do not consider the likes of Rodney King, another code word. I mean, what does that mean? So this defense attorney was appealing to the worst in people. Of course, this is his job. But at the same time, we have got to say, and this is the last response, and I want to make this directly to you, Phil. You said something about these are the same things we heard in the 60s. This may be a bit unkind, but the truth does not look for ratings. And what we're concerned about is the truth, whether in 1960 or in 1992. And I can't stop telling the truth just because people say we heard it 30 years ago. And so therefore we come back with it again. And if we give up just because people get tired of hearing it, well, then I might as well stop preaching the gospel. I might as well stop trying to act responsibly. I might as well stop trying to raise my family according to certain values and traditions. And I refuse, absolutely refuse, to let anybody take me off of the line of responsible action rooted in moral behavior and truth to the best of our knowledge to understand it. I think we've got to say that to the American public, black and white, and I think we will be able to overcome this foolishness that we see today.
Let me also add, the job of a police officer is only to handcuff an individual if they have broken the law. It was proved during this trial that at least on 4 times during this vicious beating the police officers could have handcuffed Mr. King. But yet they chose not to do that. They chose to continue the beating. You and I saw it on tape. Everybody, this whole country, parts of this world now saw it on tape. It was brutal. It was vicious. There's no reasonable explanation for it. The problem was, in the first place, the case should not have been moved to Ventura County, because obviously in that place the defense lawyers were appealing to racist suburban juries.
But well, Andrew Hacker, who has just written a book on race, with whom Calvin and I shared a podium last night.
That was the Charlie Rose show.
That's right. Talks about the fact that the function of the police, as far as those people in Ventura County are concerned, is to keep the Mr. Kings from them. They moved to Ventura County to get away from people just like him. Yes. And that's what they think their function is. In reading the papers today, one of the things that was most curious is that so many white people said, when they said they believed the jury, they said, we don't know what other evidence, irrespective of what we saw on the videotape, we don't know what other evidence there was in that courtroom. We weren't there. So we have to believe that there was some other compelling evidence. I would just say, I wonder if all 12 jurors were black, all right? If the cops were black and the victim were white, was there any reason for anybody else to believe there was compelling evidence? I don't think anybody would jump to that conclusion.
I'll give you a chance.
I would like to shift the ground.
I'll be happy to give you that opportunity. May I just let our audience see? Now, you just heard a piece of at least an attempt to explain how a jury could possibly have looked past the videotape. Here is New Jersey Senator Bill Bradley in one of the most unusual and compelling speeches, I don't think it's an overstatement to say, in the history of the United States Senate. Senator Bradley on the floor yesterday.
About Rodney King being hit 56 times in 81 seconds with batons. We saw it with our own eyes. It was on video. Just as we saw the missiles over Baghdad or the murders in Tiananmen Square, so we saw 4 police beating Rodney King. It was clear-cut. 56 times in 81 seconds. Something like this. Boom, pow, 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 pow. Pow, 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 pow. Pow, 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 pow. 56 times. In 81 seconds. That's what the American public saw on videotape. 56 times in 81 seconds. And what did the defense do? The defense, in a thinly veiled attempt to play on racial stereotypes and racial fears, the defense called King a bear, a bull, a gorilla, the worst of the dehumanizing descriptions of black Americans that have fueled hatred, discrimination, and fear throughout our history.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi, Wendy.
Who is Wendy?
She's my cousin. She just dropped by.
Stall her. Wait, where are you going?
Oh, Domino's. I need a pizza at 515 Wilbur. Call for a new Fiesta Pizza Feast. Spicy Mexican beef and veggies. A medium's just $8.99.
But I didn't order this.
I did. Care to join me?
Domino's, my favorite.
Nobody knows like Domino's.
Columbo's shop style is a frozen yogurt that Dad claims is always soft. Always soft? I don't think so. To prove it, I froze Dad with his shop style. Wow. It is soft and creamy just like we get in the shops.
What's with Dad?
I froze him.
Cool.
Hey, that's mine.
This is good. Really soft and smooth.
Hey, come on.
Shop style from Columbo. Always soft. Always.
Don't even think about it.
Introducing new Ocean Spray Refreshers. Finally, adults have a juice drink of their own. Refreshers aren't sticky sweet like kids' juice drinks.
Plus this annual pay.
New refreshers are never too sweet. Refreshers have a crisp, light, dry taste adults crave.
Daddy? Dad?
And new refreshers come in 3 delicious flavors adults find hard to share. Try new Ocean Spray Refreshers juice drinks in bottles and refrigerated cartons.
Not guilty of the crime of assault.
The aftermath of the Rodney King trial.
We don't want you to resort to violence. That would only destroy every positive thing that we...
As Los Angeles erupts in violence and looting, Chicago and the nation watch. What's next as police try to regain control of the streets?
He is bleeding unconscious in the street.
Stay with the Channel 5 News team for complete coverage as events unfold. I'm Ron Majors. We'll have all the latest on the Channel 5 News at 4:30, 5, 6, and 10.
To be part of the audience, please send a postcard to Donahue Tickets, care of NBC, 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, New York, 10112. Remember, postcards only, please.
The New York city is not without its own gathering of people. Can we see the New York video here? This is today. This is near the Brooklyn Bridge, where, as you can see, at least hundreds of people have gathered as this nation looks up to discover itself in a very ominous and quite obviously historic moment.
Hysterical. I'm glad you showed that tape because I couldn't believe New York City today. The calls in our office, we had calls coming in telling us that 5 people had been killed in Brooklyn and several people had been killed other places. When I came down on the street and I saw white New Yorkers with fear in their eyes rushing to leave the city, I knew that America and Americans, all Americans, understand the depth of this race problem.
Yes, but that wasn't true. Those were not true
No,
reports.
they were not true. Let me hasten to say that. But the hysteria that built during this day of unfounded rumors back and forth across the city, even though people had on their television sets and their radios, nonetheless, the level of hysteria that kept building toward 4 o'clock, and the assumption that blacks here were so unhappy, as they are across the country, that there was going to be this wanton violence. The fear that you saw in people's eyes, particularly whites as they tried to get out of New York, it's a very sad day.
If I may just say something that this panel, I know, agrees with, and solicit your comments. You can't grow up in an all-white environment without bringing into your adult life the legacy of racism. And you can't fix it if you don't acknowledge that it's there. You can't grow up in a world in which almost all the people going to jail on the Action Evening News are black without having that negatively influence your own feelings about people of color. That's why women clutch their purses a little closer to their bodies, for example, when a black male gets on an elevator. Now, if this is true, how do we possibly get... And incidentally, a lot of the people about whom I've spoken are cops today, assistant prosecutors, members of juries. How do we get back behind this to begin a change of heart?
Could I respond to that? How do you get behind that? How do you deal with racism that is inculcated in the culture? How do you deal with the prerogatives of people who believe that everything that they have to say is important simply because they're white, simply because they view the world a certain way. You know, the way that you get behind this, Phil, the real way that you have to get behind this is understand simply that when we deal with a situation today, it has a history. When you see people portrayed on television as looters, as vandals, the headlines in the New York Times describe the people in Los Angeles as vandals. Who are the vandals? The vandals were a Germanic tribe that was so rapacious that they named burning, loot, rape, and pillage after them. They weren't Africans. They weren't black people. So what we're saying here is we're sending a subliminal message to the majority of white people. See, they're looting, they're pillaging. And listen to this. I want to say this is very important.
Running out of time.
Yes, because I heard a black woman say that as a consequence of the situation in L.A., this was the first time in her life that she was able to put shoes on all 6 of her children. Those people that are going in stores and that are venting their rage are people who have been marginalized, deprived, exploited, and brutalized, and the Rodney King verdict was the straw that broke the camel's back. And white folks were so arrogant that they thought that they could transfer the case to a territory,
the
a
point
place.
Has been made. The
yes,
point has been
but
made.
Has it been made that Ventura County is also one of the major recruiting grounds for the Aryan Nation?
And a retirement community for
cops.
For police officers. Are you there, caller? Hi.
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think?
I'm a white woman from Massachusetts, and I definitely agree with these people. There's no reason why those 4 police officers were not convicted, and is there a way? You know, all white people do not feel that way. You know, I feel that there should be equality. How do we make a network across America, and how do we stop this from happening?
I'll give you a chance. Please hold this question. You had a brief comment, and then I have to break. Caller.
Yeah, how come they don't mention about the high-speed chase with Rodney King, or when he got out the car, he attacked the cop, then after he hit him with the stun gun, he came back and attacked the cop. They don't mention about the 2 guys that never got with Rodney King, who never was attacked.
Because they didn't beat the hell out of the other guys, that proves they're not racist.
If he would listen to the cop, they never even fished him.
The jury heard that point made many times in a number of the closing arguments.
First of all,
I'll give you a chance. Are you there? Hi. You wanted to say.
Well, I just wanted to say, as a white American, I am very upset at white America right now. I hope that this is a slap in the face to us. We need to learn that we are not white, black, yellow. We are a human race.
Yeah.
And we need to get on it. It's 1992.
I'm glad you called. Hi.
Hi, yes. Brief comment. First of all, it's terrible that these police officers lost their all being beating this guy like that. Second, when we were growing up in school, whenever they started integrating the schools, the blacks did not want to become integrated with so-called all-white schools. They fought against it. I can remember bloody fights breaking out because they did not want to be part of all-white schools.
I am compelled to say to you that you're using they to describe uncounted numbers of people of color. You can't do that. They are not monolithic. They don't want.
No, what I'm talking about... When we were in schools, I saw what I saw with my own eyes in a high school. The fights that broke out were terrible. I don't think they wanted to be there. I'm not saying
I wouldn't be surprised by that because given the history of Europeans and what they have done to people of color in this world, I wouldn't be surprised if black people didn't want to become a part of their rapacious and evil nature.
And we'll give Reverend Butts a chance to make the point that he wanted to in just a moment.
When you spend this much time and effort finding fresh vegetables, shouldn't your fat-free dressing be just as fresh? New Good Seasons for fat-free dressing. You make it fresh yourself with no oil. A unique blend of herbs and spices makes it taste great. And just 10 calories. New Good Seasons for fat-free dressing. Because any way you shake it, the best fat-free is the fresh fat-free.
When two of the worst odors in the rug end room get together, you need more than fresh. You need Carpet Fresh. Only Carpet Fresh has Valex to eliminate tough rug odors and freshen the room. So don't just freshen, Carpet Freshen.
Big odors lurk in small places.
Stick it to 'em with stick-ups.
Big odors linger in small places.
Stick it to 'em with stick-ups.
Concentrated Airwick Stick-Ups stop big odors in small places. Airwick Stick-Ups.
Stick it to 'em.
I've got those charcoal churning, burning hots for some sizzling, savory Johnsonville brats. Can't wait to fire up the grill. Give me a thrill. Taste buds, they need a shot of Johnsonville brats. Girl, I've got the hots for the brats.
From Johnsonville.
Can't get enough. Pass me a bun. Yeah, I got the hots for the brats.
From Johnsonville.
Simply great taste.
From the writer of My Left Foot, Tara lived life on her own terms.
Marry me, or I'll go mad.
I'd go mad if I did.
Then the Playboys came to town, and one man stole her heart. The New York Times calls it enchanting. Albert Finney, Aidan Quinn, and Robin Wright.
If you won't have me, you'll have nobody.
You're crucifying me.
Rolling Stone magazine says there's magic in it. The Playboys, rated PG-13. Now playing at select theaters.
The perfect Chicago radio station. Well, it's got to play all the hits.
All the latest stuff.
But it's got to play some dusties, too.
The best of the old stuff.
And don't talk all the time. Just play the music. There's this station, V103.
V103 is a very good station.
The one with the best variety of hits and dusties.
That's what a radio station should sound like.
V103.
That's Chicago.
Reverend Butts.
A number of white people, I take that back, a great many white people have understood the outrage because they too could see what happened on that videotape. They are willing to work to bring about change. I'm not the perennial Negro that says all things are changing and it's rosy, but I do believe that some change has taken place. I do believe further that the expression of a few of those callers is an indication to all people who have hope that we can continue to move forward. I don't want to lose that. Furthermore, you've asked what we can do. You mentioned that the people are described as looters and vandals. Well, the media has racism embedded, and it can begin by making sure that editors, producers, writers are employed in the media of color to help portray what is really happening, so that not only is a person who breaks a window in L.A. called a looter, but so is a Bochke, for instance, or the SNL scandal gets the kind of attention it deserves. What else can we do? National youth academies that begins to embrace a lot of the youngsters who have no skills and who can be trained to do jobs and work in environments that are clean and safe, where good health care is provided. These are concrete suggestions that I think that if we focus on them, we can make some steps forward. This that we see today is the encouragement to engender those steps.
There seem to be two schools.
In 1967, our program was born in 1967, and cities burned down, Detroit among them. And all the white CEOs came down from the high-rise office building and started throwing jobs at people, including media. Now, this is not a controlled study. It's an observation. A significant, visible increase in the number of minorities happened
on camera.
right around me. No. I mean, even the unions.
But not in the...
Not in the power positions. Come on.
Here's my point. A lot of them are gone today.
All right.
What happened? Now, it's very possible that this was a racist environment that was beyond the comfort index of most
Phil, that's
people.
That's in every area of life. You had a 20-year period where there was a national will for inclusion. At some point, you reached some level, and then people decided that was enough, or we had done enough for blacks. After 300 years of slavery.
How do we prevent a Band-Aid repetition is the point.
Well, you've got to have some real solutions, and they can't, and when we talk about, no, of course not. You can't have Band-Aid solutions. I would like to suggest that one of the solutions, the president, as I understand it, is going on television tonight, all right? This is the same president that used a black male symbol negatively to help get into the White House the last time around. Yes. So people are going to be listening very carefully, and there's going to be among blacks the predisposition not to believe very much what he says in terms of his sincerity. Right. It took 25 years to build South Central LA the last time, and people talked about how few resources were there. I would like the president to say, as a starter, that once the rioting stops, that there will be resources placed back in the community so people who had businesses can have low-cost loans to rebuild those businesses. So there are tax advantages to going back in there. So you begin to build an infrastructure of a community which is concrete, which people can understand, where people can have jobs, then people can pay taxes. That's the kind of thing we need to see.
But I think that, first of all, if we're going to proceed along those lines, we have to make a thorough analysis of the capitalist system. And the capitalist system as it exists today is premised, and I keep going back to this because nobody wants to deal with this. The capitalist system today is premised on the domination and exploitation of people of color around the world. The United States is a powerful nation because it stole the lands of the native people, and it kidnapped Africans in an act of war in order to work those stolen lands in order to accumulate its primitive accumulation of capital to become the great nation that it is. So if we're saying that the solution for our problem is to throw more capitalism at the victims of capitalism, I think that's an absurd notion. I think that what we have to really deal with is the reality that 30 million black people in this country have never had the right to organize themselves for their own empowerment and decide for themselves what they wanted to do in order to become a people satisfied with their condition.
And we'll be back in a moment.
California head lettuce, just the way you like it, with crisp green leaves and large-size heads, only 25 cents each with Dominic's Super Coupon. Kraft Parquet margarine quarters, a delicious way to give yourself a pack or two. Just 19 cents a 1-pound package. Super Coupon's not available in-store. And with $100 in registered tapes, you can save up to 50% on Avia athletic shoes. A perfect fit at $29.99 a pair.
The end is near. Just a reminder that all good things must come to an end.
The end is near.
So whether you need lumber,
The end is near.
hardware,
The end is near.
lawn and garden,
The end is near.
or home fashions, you'll find hundreds of savings on brand name items. So hurry to Handy Andy before
The end is here.
Handy Andy, a definite improvement in home improvement.
It's your mother. Call me back and we'll have a long chat, because when you rent 2 movies at Blockbuster Video, you get up to 3 hours of free long distance from Sprint. And now at Blockbuster.
From Walt Disney Home Video, Fantasia, a masterpiece of sight, sound, color, and imagination. The final release of the original masterpiece, Walt Disney's Fantasia, rated G, now available for $17.95.
Remember, rent 2 videos, get free Sprint long distance for your mother.
Johnny Carson. He's the undisputed king of late-night television. But Johnny joked his way through tragedy. His son's death, his painful divorces. Now, after 3 decades, he's saying his final goodnight. Why Johnny quit. Then, a small-town paper goes risque with steamy photos of gorgeous young models. Hot off the press, front-page nudes on hard copy.
Hard copy. Today at 4, only on Channel 5.
To be part of the audience, please send a postcard to Donahue Tickets, care of NBC, 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, New York, 10112. Remember, postcards only, please.
Well, however painful, we do have here the collision of 2 approaches to our national agony. Mr. Mohad is saying capitalism itself is a white man's idea which corrupts and exploits itself and exploits black people, so that bringing white man's money to black neighborhoods, no matter how honorably intended, is just never going to work.
Phil, I think that there is great merit in that thought. I think, however, that one thing you have to do, and Brother Wahad and I have talked about this, is you've got to have that community there to express itself. Now, there is a sense in which the community itself has to have an analysis. But if you bring, and I take a deep risk now, 500 people from the middle of South Central LA and ask them whether or not they would want to have, quote, the white man's money there to rebuild and low-interest loans to develop those businesses and help to get jobs, I guarantee you that before they criticize capitalism, they will go after that dollar. Now,
incidentally, it's their money as well.
That's exactly right.
Right. The money was,
and so therefore, while I firmly agree that there needs to be a deep analysis of the capitalist system that exploits worldwide, at the same time, there is a sense of reality that speaks to me that says jobs, shoes, food, clothes, housing are important. And George Bush, et alia, can do that. Just the same way that they sent those missiles over there to chase after Saddam, who they never caught. They can build more quickly than they can rebuild anything in Europe, the inner cities of our urban centers.
But Phil, I'm also suggesting through this that there is ownership. Yes, maybe the money has to come from fund. I don't think that black people in America are going to be able to put together a resource to start building those businesses. Wherever the money generates from, I'm talking about ownership, so people feel vested and they feel connected and they feel responsible for the community in which they live.
I don't think I'm insulting anybody to say that Adam Clayton Powell IV may be the youngest member of our panel here. You have to feel conflicted listening to these two.
Yeah, actually, I think we can find a happy medium. I think on the one hand, yes, we should accept some of the government's money. It is, as you mentioned, our money. But I think on the other hand, we need to be self-sufficient and forget about the dream of, of somebody else giving us a hand. We need to give ourselves a hand. So that's why we need to start within our own African-American and Latino communities, our own institutions, our own banks, our own churches, and our own system of government, so that perhaps when somebody wants to open up a business, we don't have to resort to Chemical Bank, to Citibank. We can go to our own institution to get the capital for that.
Let me clarify.
Furthermore, we should also obviously begin buying from our own community. That way the dollar will turn around more within our own ranks.
I want to clarify my point. My point was not that we should not meet the immediate needs of people and that people in L.A. need food, clothing, and shelter. My point was that unless we build in the community an institution in which the people themselves control the money and the use of the funds based on their own reality, then all we're going to do is create another elite who gets money from white folks and siphon it off and dispense it to the masses of black people.
And we'll be back in a moment.
When things get tough, remember, Shake and Bake makes it easy to treat your family to plump, juicy pork chops without frying. Why fry? Shake and Bake.
We made this house with recycled beer cans. Ruffy's made this trash bag with recycled milk jugs. Maybe we'll drink more milk.
New Eco-Choice trash bags, made tough, made with 1/3 recycled plastic bottles.
$5.99 for anything here?
Smile. You're at Homemakers, and $5.99 will buy any of these 18th century solid cherry pieces. This $1,000 chest on chest, this $1,000 dresser with mirror, either of these $1,100 highboys, both these $500 nightstands, this $1,000 Cochrane bed, or this $1,000 dresser with mirror and jewelry box. Solid cherry.
Each only $5.99.
Smile. You're at Homemakers.
She was too innocent to be true.
Did Dad let you out on school nights?
Yeah.
too dangerous to desire.
You're gonna rip me apart, don't you want your friends to see?
And once she touches you, I love you. It's too late to escape. Zalman King, the creator of Wild Orchid, brings you the exotic story of a double life. Wild Orchid 2, 2 Shades of Blue, rated R.
Starts May 8th at a theater near you.
How do you stay in shape?
Oh, I guess I get plenty of exercise. And I eat good stuff. Like chicken.
Which chicken?
Which chicken? Mine comes in a bucket.
Oh.
No?
Maybe you should try my chicken. Chicken by George. A lean, marinated chicken breast. Low in fat and calories. Perfect for lunch, dinner, anytime.
Forget the bucket.
And remember, there's chicken. And there's Chicken by George.
Chicken by George. It's the healthy one.
The campaign to free black political prisoners with which Dhoruba bin Wahad is associated is at Post Office Box 339, the Bronx. The zip in the Bronx is 10463. Are you there, caller?
Yes, hi.
You had one brief comment.
Yes, I know what happened to Rodney King is wrong, but is this an excuse for the looting and violence that's going on now? My husband is in his store in New York City. He's afraid to come home because he told me there's violence in his neighborhood and rioting and looting.
Right.
He's scared to leave.
Yes. No, I didn't mean to. Are you there? Hi.
Yeah, I'd like to say one thing. I want to say this for a long time. I am really tired of black people feeling sorry for themselves. They blame everything on society. Society does them wrong. Black people make themselves inferior. I feel sad for Rodney King. What happened was not right. But they're just using this as an excuse. I don't feel sorry for black people.
Let me, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Mm-hmm. I thank you for calling.
See, that's
I know
part
that
of the problem right there. We have a caller who says, yes, I feel sorry for what happened to Rodney King, but, and it seems that after the verdict relating to the other call, we have been focusing more on the public brutality, on the riots, rather than the police brutality. And while I do not condone violence, obviously I can understand the frustration and the anger on the young minds of these African Americans, Latinos, and even whites who are out there in L.A. rioting because they feel like they could probably be the next victim.
You wanted to say?
I wanted to say to, I guess, my own community listening, that our young people are not listening to us that directly. And that if, beloved, we go to our own, even with the knowledge that we don't quite know what to do, we may discover what to do. And I want to say to young people who are frustrated and want to act, that violence and burning and destruction is not the way. These are not the ways. That civil disobedience can be very effective if we take a look at the later years of Dr. King. So please, let us love each other and let us channel our energy into direct action that does not destroy or kill.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi, Wendy.
Who is Wendy?
She's my cousin. She just dropped by.
Stall her.
Wait, where are you going?
Whoa! Domino's! I need a pizza at 515 Wilbur. Call for a new Fiesta Pizza Feast. Spicy Mexican beef and veggies. A medium's just $8.99.
But I didn't order this.
I did. Care to join me?
Domino's, my favorite.
Nobody knows like Domino's.
So you're shopping at Frank's for great spring values.
Uh-huh. At Frank's, we always spend less money on quality flowers, shrubs.
But what we really like are the great gardening tips.
Less money.
Great tips.
Don't forget Frank's top quality lawn and garden products, expertly formulated and guaranteed to help you create beautiful landscapes affordably. And choose from our colorful annuals and hanging baskets with Frank's quality difference, expert selected and cared for and affordably priced.
Beautiful things begin at
Great tips.
Frank's Nursery and Crafts.
Triple discounts, unheard of. New York Carpet World brings you the deepest, most daring, most drastic discounts in history. Carpets at triple discount. First, the fiber maker cut the price. Then the mills cut the price again. I personally ordered the final markdowns for savings of 62%. Till Saturday, triple discounts on hundreds of rolls. Prices cut not once, not twice, but 3 times to save you 62%. Plus free credit with no payments till November. Hurry, triple discounts and Saturday at New York Carpet World.
Oh, my love, my darling.
The Light, 93.9 WLIT. Turn it on.
I got a peaceful, easy feeling, and I know you want
The Light, 93.9 WLIT. Turn it on.
Columbo's shop style is a frozen yogurt that Dad claims is always soft. Always soft? I don't think so. To prove it, I froze Dad with his shop style. Wow, it is soft and creamy just like we get in the shops.
What's with Dad?
I froze him.
Cool.
Hey, that's mine.
This is good. Really soft and smooth.
Hey, come on.
Shop style from Columbo. Always soft. Always.
For a transcript of today's program, send $3 check or money order to Donahue Transcripts, 1535 Grand Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203, or call 303-831-9000.
Did you want to say one thing, caller?
The people who are peacefully demonstrating against demonstrating are the ones who really care about Rodney King. But the youth in L.A. who killed 35 innocent people are only doing so because it was an excuse to riot. These are the words.
Miss Michelle wanted to say.
I say that this incident is a wake-up call to America, Phil. It's a wake-up call to all Americans, and we have a choice. Are we going to make this a place where we can all coexist, or we can continue to ignore race as a basic problem for America?
I'd like to say something, Phil, real briefly. That caller that said that the 35 people were killed, I bet you when this riots are over, you'll see that the 35 people that killed, the majority of them were shot down by the LAPD.
I don't think that's something you can prove, but
I
your
think
comment is
provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
The amazing Cool View room air conditioner from Quasar takes up just 6.5 inches of your window viewing space. See the Cool View at selected Sears stores.
At last, Alpine Lace, fat-free and low cholesterol singles made with real cheese.
You mean I can eat cheese products again?
Gluten-free and lean.
For the perfect weekend and the perfect frequent stay program, check into the new Drake.